Hello, beautiful unicorns. Yana Kasperczak coming to you live from Ontario of Canada as your certified professional performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach. It has been my soul's purpose to help women, to help you get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison you find yourself in and build a life, a business, and or career that you are obsessed with. Something that you love to wake up to every single day, that brings you so much joy, so much happiness, and you live your life on your terms, the way that you want to live it, and become obsessed with your life because it's yours and you get to live it and experience it in the most beautiful and powerful ways that are yours and nobody else's. So this is the reason. So today's topic is I want to talk about the battle between the feminine and the masculine in relationships. And when it comes to the relationship, the feminine and masculine does not necessarily mean between a man and a woman. This can be between women and men, because both genders, men and women, have the feminine and the masculine within them. And it's quite easy to tell when they're unbalanced because the emotions are not as balanced. And here's what I want to say first when it comes to the battles of the masculine and the feminine. Sometimes you feel that within you, and sometimes you feel that outside of you and you notice it and you express it, or you experience it outside of you through the expressions of someone else. Emotions are primarily women's. This is how women show up. They show up in an emotional way. They express themselves through those emotions. Women are more intuitive than men. They have different creativity and they tap into the flow. Women are the ones that will spend time being, while men will spend time doing. So this is why it's also important for all of us to figure out our own balance between doing and being, between the feminine and masculine. If you, as a woman, spending a lot of time doing and doing and doing and doing, and we're living in the masculine world. The world itself is very masculine. It's go and go and go and go and go, do and do and do and do, achieve. And the masculine energy is beautiful. It's powerful. It is the one that we need to tap into in order for us to achieve and to build a life that we want. The masculine is the one that will build cities because it's action oriented. It's doing, it's going after. Whereas the feminine is the one that sees, that creates, that envisions, that senses, that allows the time to sit there and visualize and process and be in the flow. The feminine values connection, deep, meaningful connection. This is where the empathy comes from as well, from the feminine, because the feminine is the feeling and the emotion. Sometimes I know some men will say, maybe too much emotion, tame that down, drama queen, but this is the feminine. And you don't want to shame her for her feminine, because then when you shame her for her feminine, she will step into the masculine and she will tell you like it is. She will put you in your place, whatever she sees fit being your place. She will get angry, and in the worst case scenario, she can get violent. And you don't want her to step into her masculine. You want her to be primarily in her feminine so you can be in your masculine. And then once in a while, she will be doing and doing and doing, spending a lot of time in the masculine. And this is where then she will find herself feeling tired, exhausted, drained physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, because she just spent so much time in the masculine. And perhaps for a moment there, she forgot what it's like to be in her feminine, because a woman is meant to be primarily in her feminine. Well, while the man is supposed to be primarily, or meant to be primarily in their masculine, and once in a while in the feminine. And the same thing for a woman, once in a while in the masculine. So if this is where you're finding yourself in your feminine now, that you're really feeling so much that you've just spent a lot of time doing and doing and doing, maybe achieving or getting things done around the house, that it's time to allow the feminine to be, for you to just be in the moment without the shame, without the guilt of, in order for me to feel valuable, in order for me to feel worthy or good enough, or that I've done enough, that I must have done a lot or enough for me to allow myself to feel that way. But who created that concept? Who told you that this is the way that you're supposed to go through life and feel valued, feel worthy, feel good enough after having done and achieved? Who gave you that idea? When did you get that idea? Because you weren't born with that idea. You got it from somewhere. It was given to you. And now it's not allowing you to live your life in the way that you want to live your life, in the way that feels good. And you finding yourself not liking or enjoying your life at all. And of course, it's very hard or maybe even impossible to feel obsessed with your life. But how can you? How can you change your life in a little bit of a different way to help you to tap back into the obsessiveness of life and living? And it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. And sometimes, actually not sometimes, what's going to happen is that new thing that you brought into your life that helped to reignite that spark of obsession, it's going to become normal. It's going to become just part of your life, that you're no longer obsessed about it or with it. So then, because here's another, I'm going to burst your bubble here as well, that this expectation of, I'm going to do this thing in my life, or I'm going to get this thing in my life, and my life is going to be, from now on, it's going to be an amazing, incredible life, and it's going to be perfect. Temporarily, yes. That's how we humans work and operate. But then it becomes a new normal. And it is meant to be replaced with something else. It's similar to getting a haircut. When you get a haircut, you feel great, you feel amazing, you feel renewed, you feel like you lost 1,000 pounds, and you are happy and joyful. And then before you know it, maybe after a first wash or a second wash, you're like, and then you go for another haircut and it's renewed again, you feel great. So similarly, in our life, we become stagnant, and maybe it's because you're either too much in your feminine or too much in your masculine, and you're not finding the balance in between. And sometimes the balance in between is doing something different. It's experiencing something different. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's taking on a new adventure, a new quest, a new opportunity, doing something that maybe you wanted to do but didn't allow yourself to do, or something that would help you to acquire a new skill, a new way of, maybe new perception, new way of looking at life or at things. So another way of looking at feminine and masculine, started to recognize that within yourself as well. Masculine emphasizes on independence, stability, and doing rather than feeling. There's not that much feeling. So if you're asking, sometimes you step into your masculine and you don't have that many feelings and emotions, and you feel good and you feel great and you want to feel that way all the time, but you can't feel that way all the time because you are meant to be more in your feminine and feel and emphasize on being and spend more time being or overdoing and leaning into your depth of your emotions and your self-expression. So a man in the masculine wants to have this stability, needs to have the stability, and provides the stability. And that's why I say both men and women have that in them. I'm not going to go into the depth of men and women and the difference between, this is going to be for a different conversation. And some of you or most of you already know this as well. So you don't need me to go into the roles of a man and what they need and what they want. I talked about it actually a few weeks in our Facebook group, Heal the Unicorn: Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. And the topic was intimate relationships. And this is where I really went deep into men and women and the differences between men and women and how we can help each other to become the best version of ourselves and build a life together. This is kind of building on top of the intimate relationships. And intimate relationships, I mean, just to put it out there as well, this is not just between you and your the person that you're married to, the person that you choose to build a life with for the remainder of your life. It's people who you're really comfortable and open, and you can talk to them about everything and anything, basically. So in our sacred circle, all of us women, we have an intimate relationship with each other as well. Just to give you the bird's eye view, those of you who attend the sacred circle, so you know what I'm talking about as well. Now let's talk a little bit about examples, because this is story time with myself, Yana Kasperczak, that I do on Tuesdays. So what would be a story without some examples, without some stories? Now, with women, so the feminine energy often feels and expresses emotions freely, viewing this openness as a way to connect and heal. This is how women approach their emotions. This is how they heal. This is how they connect with one another as well, and with men as well, who are tapping into their feminine. When a woman is hurt, the feminine might share feelings freely and openly and readily. But if she is not in the healing process or healed, then she's not going to be sharing it. She's going to be holding it within and collecting it and gathering and brewing and stewing. And then one day she will snap and just release it all, because it has not been dealt with and it's been shoved and swallowed and buried deep down within. And the feminine seeks empathy. She gives empathy, but she also needs empathy as well. She seeks empathy and validation. So an example would be something transpired. Let's say she had a disagreement with her friend, and then she goes and she shares that with her husband, with her partner, and he's not hearing it. He doesn't want to hear and understand Why? Because it's all woman drama and I don't want to be part of that. And then she feels unheard, unseen, unvalidated. And then she's going to learn, because we all learn from our experiences. And what she's learning in that moment is that this is the conversations that I cannot have with my partner, with my husband. Now, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just you have other people to have and share those types of conversations and experiences with. Perhaps he sees it as gossip and he doesn't indulge in gossip. He doesn't do gossip. And that's okay. You're not meant to have every single possible conversation with everyone. There's some things that you're going to have with specific people. Now, at the same time, if this is throughout your relationship and you can't seem to express your feelings and emotions because he's not able to tap into his feminine and be there for you in the way that you need him, then it merits a deeper dive and some independent work on yourself, and for him to do independent work on himself as well. So that way, both of you find that healthy way of coexisting, learning from each other, and helping each other grow and build a life together. Build a life that you both can be obsessed with. Now, with the masculine energy may process emotionally inwardly. This is where you yourself might be tapping into your masculine, where you're not expressing it outwardly, you're expressing it and processing it inwardly within yourself, viewing containment as strength, where you see that because, and this is where some of you think you're being feminine, but you're actually tapping into the masculine, and you're being masculine, that whatever it is that triggered you, your feelings and your emotions, you keep them within and you don't allow them out, because you see it as, I am strong and I'm dealing with these feelings and emotions and these lessons on my own within me. And it's great because, like I said, we gotta have the masculine and the feminine balance, which means that don't gather too much of this emotional triggers or traumas within yourself and carry them until you can no longer carry these baggage because it's so heavy. Tap into your feminine and express your feelings and emotions. Express what you're going through and dealing with, and help your partner. Don't expect him to know these things on his own, but help him to help you of how to, for the lack of better words, help him to know and learn how to deal with you. How to help you go through your feelings and emotions. If you need a hug, let him know that you need a hug. Educate him on the things that help you to feel seen, heard, and understood, and validated, and help you to release what you're carrying. And remind him that it's not personal. Yes, there are some things that might be personal, but you don't mean it as an attack. Even if it comes through as an attack, you don't mean it as an attack, which also means practice not coming across in an attacking type of way. So the masculine will hold it in, whatever the trigger is, and the emotion, and process it within themselves, because the belief is, this is my strength and I'm strong and I can carry all of the world's burdens and hurts. And then when faced with emotional situations, they might stay calm or might appear as they're holding it together, offering stability rather than averting expression. Now, another way is nurturing versus protectiveness. Which one do you think is which? Which one is nurturing and which one is protectiveness? I feel that this one is pretty straightforward, that it does not require very much or any explanation, because the feminine, the woman, is the nurturer. She has been given the ability to create life, to bake it, and then open the oven, and here comes out a child. Whatever you give a woman will multiply. And that means if you're giving her anger, she will multiply that anger, and you will get more of that anger back. You giving her frustration, she will multiply that and give you that back. You give her a seed, she will multiply that and she will give you a baby back, or 2 or 3 or however many. So watch and pay attention to what you give a woman, because what you give to her, she will multiply. And if you don't like what you get, pay attention to what you're giving. So, yeah. Hey, Debbie, how are you doing, beautiful? Debbie says, love that superpower. It is a superpower. Being able to create life and being able to multiply what we're giving. You give a woman ingredients, she'll multiply, and she may make a meal for many. So paying attention to what a woman is receiving, because then she will be giving that in abundance. So if you don't like it, pay attention to the source. And at the same time, if you want your man to protect you and keep you safe, then don't take over the role. Because there are women who take over the role of a man, of the masculine, and then the man feels demasculated, and then he spends more time and he's feminine and emotional and triggered and hurt, and remember, he'll keep it more inside than outside until he can no longer deal with it. And by the time he can no longer deal with it, he's not even aware, and this is also for women when women are doing this, not even aware of where all of this it comes through. As now you wake up one morning and you're annoyed, you're irritated, and you're feeling in the mood, and then all of a sudden, let's say you stabbed your toe into something, and then you just explode and release everything. But there were things that were building up to that moment that you were gathering and you were collecting, because you know you're strong, but you expected yourself to deal with everything and in ways of not dealing with them, or just putting them away for later. And then that later is now when you stabbed your toe, but because you put it away and you don't even remember the things that you put in there and you suppressed because you didn't deal with them right then and there, that's where a lot of problems begin and then continue. So instead of bottling things up, instead of putting them away to deal with later, deal with them as quickly as you can and as lovingly and patiently as you can, without taking things personally. And recognize yourself in the moment of the things that you're saying that are triggering you, that are upsetting you, how you yourself might be showing up in those ways throughout the day, or throughout maybe the past couple of days, that you yourself might have been showing up in those ways that now you're triggered by, you're annoyed by, and you're projecting yourself onto someone else that is the closest person to you, and you're seeing how they're being that way. Meanwhile, you have just been living in that way for a couple of hours, for a couple of days, or whatnot. So pay attention to how you might be projecting yourself onto someone else, as well as how they might be. It's easy to find fault in other people, but it might be challenging to find faults in ourselves. So when you see something in someone and you start to recognize how they're showing up, take notes of that, and then reflect on how you're showing up in those same ways. And when you pause and you see how you're showing up in those ways or in a similar ways, and you're seeing it through the mirror of somebody else's expression of how they're showing up, that you might actually avoid a battle between the feminine and the masculine. And at the same time, you might not even have to take what you're feeling and experiencing and hold it within, because you're processing it right then and there and not projecting, but owning your part. So just note that in your mind, or maybe in your notebook, and practice this. Practice this behavior where you're checking yourself before you're blaming someone else. So the feminine is nurturing. Feminine energy in a relationship is often drawn to nurturing their partner emotionally, listening deeply, and providing emotional comfort and emotional support. They might say, tell me what's on your mind. I'm here for you. And they will listen, and they will empathize and understand and help you to feel understood, and your feelings and emotions understood and validated, that it's normal to feel that way. It's okay. I get you. I understand you. That's the feminine. And our men can do that for us as well. Yet this is more from a woman, but it is feminine, and nurturing is more of the woman's role. Meanwhile, the men, they also have the nurturing side and part of them as well, because men and women both have feminine and masculine, which means that they can tap into this form of nurturing and help you with what you're going through, with your feelings and where your emotions, as some of them would say. I mean, it's one of those things, let's call it double standards, that when it's our time of the month, we're like, yeah, it's my time of the month, I get it. But when they say, it's like, no, 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 no. You can't talk like that. But how fair is that? That we can say it and they can't. I get it, I understand, but at the same time, this is how they're mimicking their understanding of us and where we are in our cycle throughout the month, because we go through 4 different cycles within a month. That they're validating and hearing us and understanding by using the words that we have taught them, that we have given them. So why would we punish them for it as well? Maybe just remind them, and not today. Today, talk to me in a little bit, in a different way. So be gentle. And this is where he can tap into his feminine and see. Hey Rebecca, how are you doing, beautiful? Rebecca says, I'm so late. Oh, better late than never, right? And that she says, I'll replay. We lost you earlier. Yeah, my internet wasn't functioning properly on my computer, and I just, after a few tries, I'm like, you know what? I give up. It was already the end. I had to go to the bathroom, so I finished that, and that way I can hop on this live. So now, the masculine is the protective. Masculine energy can express care by offering protection, wanting to shield their partner from stress or pain. Sometimes you might do that as well. By an example that I've done, sure you've done, practically every woman that I've spoken to has done this, is sometimes we might try to protect them from ourselves, from our feelings and emotions, so not to upset them. Or maybe something our kids did as well, and we don't want to share that information because we want to protect them from stressing out or from worrying or from experiencing pain or shame or guilt or embarrassment. So we don't share those things with our partner because we're protecting them. Whereas the other part of the masculine is the actual physical protecting the family and standing as a shield with the family behind it, where you gotta protect. Just some of you have heard the story. I won't go into great detail, but my husband is a mechanic, and one day, this month or last month, doesn't matter. He sometimes needs to bring a car home to make sure that, to listen to the noises, to diagnose it, to check, to make sure things are working and functioning properly, and like the test run, the test drive. And so, long story short, without going into all the details, as we're getting ready for bed, there's a doorbell that rings at like 9:30 in the evening, and the kids are like, "Oh, somebody's ringing the doorbell." I'm like, nobody would be ringing the doorbell. Why? Maybe it's from the show that we're wrapping up and watching. So open the door, no one there. Close the door, as I'm like, oh, there's no one out here. I'm saying it loud enough, and then sure enough, there's a doorbell again. So I open the door, and my kids are right beside me, and I see there's a man there, quietly saying, I don't know if I talk to you, to your husband. And as he's saying that, my husband comes behind me, and about why my truck is here. So, and then this is where he taps into his protective mode and takes over, because I'm not going to be having that conversation. I got nothing to do with that. And he taps me out essentially, and he takes over and protects the family. Why are you here? Why are you at my house? Why are you showing up? And explaining why his truck is here, which, long story short, is no longer his truck because he traded it in. And here he is driving for over an hour to our house and showing up in the middle of the night, questioning just the thinking that goes behind that. But this is what our men are meant to do as well, to physically protect us and shield and close the door and deal with that situation. Otherwise, I'd be dealing with that situation, right? And of course, I had nothing to do with that. So this is how the masculine does as well. When a partner is struggling, they will try to step in and fix the problem. So see, sometimes when you share something with your partner, with your husband, he hears the problem and he's giving you a solution to fix the problem. But the problem is that you don't want that problem fixed. You just wanted to talk about it. You wanted to express it. You wanted to express your feelings and emotions. You don't want to deal with it, or you're not ready to deal with it. Or maybe that problem is not even a problem, but his brain is listening and paying attention to the problem so he can give you a solution. And you, as a woman, you do that same thing as well. Yes, not as loudly and not as consistently as men do, but as the masculine, this is what you do as well. When he's sharing what he's going through, what he's dealing with, you're listening to the problem and you're going to help, support, and then offer a solution. We're both doing that. It's not just the man, it's not just the women. We're both doing that. Also defending their partners, saying, I'll handle it. You don't need to worry about that. I got this. Um, this one is big. And this is where a lot of the struggle for men and women come as well. Women, they have a deep desire for connection and physical connection as well. Just sitting down and cuddling and holding hands. Whereas men, they need the space. Sometimes they just need to be left alone. Masculine and feminine. Sometimes when you're in your masculine, you just need to be left alone. You just want to do something on your own without anyone near you. Just let me be, let me do my own thing. Feminine energy craves emotional closeness and values time spent together, feeling energized through the connection. And she will try to connect while you're watching a movie, and she'll talk about what's happening in the movie because she wants to feel connected with you. They might say, I want us to feel close and let's talk about what's going on, right? The best part of the movie. And then a man would be like, oh my God, can you just stop talking? I just want to listen. I just want to know what's going on in the movie. And then your feminine is, this is the perfect time to talk. This is a perfect example, or this is interesting and tell me more. Help me to understand. Whereas he just wants to watch the movie. And sometimes he's in his feminine doing that, and you're in your masculine. Like, oh my gosh, just stop talking. But it's not, this part is usually the women are the ones that are doing the talking during a movie, during a show. And the man he's able to disconnect and just be with the movie, be one with the movie, be in the movie. And the masculine energy often needs independence to process emotions, to recharge his testosterone, because spending time even at work with other people, they're dealing with things, they're triggered, they're emotional, that he then, and also a lot of the foods that we eat, they create more estrogen in the body. Drinking alcohol creates more estrogen in the body as well. So more of a reason why men need the time and the space to recharge their masculine. The whole concept of a man cave that some of you might feel triggered by and say, no, what do you mean a man cave? He needs time away from me? Yes, but it's not just from you, from everything and everyone. So he can just be on his own with his own thoughts, with his own feelings and emotions, and process them and do something that helps him to do that, to process. And hopefully not the two things that I just mentioned that will create more estrogen, because he needs to recharge his testosterone. Men value personal space within the relationship, and they need to step away briefly during these intense discussions sometimes, or while you're communicating, and they might need time to think. And let's revisit it soon. Sometimes you might be the one who approaches a situation in that way, where in the relationship, sometimes it's the woman that needs time to process and think and then revisit that situation. So she'll ask to step away, or sometimes just steps away. And then the man is the one that wants to have it solved and resolved right here and now. That's the feminine and masculine. The feminine will be calm and peaceful. The masculine would be assertive or angry, because it's a fine line between. And sometimes we see our kids expressing ourselves in that way as well. Honestly, I think that is more than enough talking about the differences between feminine and masculine. The last thing I just want to mention about empathy is that feminine energy holds space for their partner's emotions, emphasizing deeply and connecting and relating with their experience and offering understanding. They might say things like, I can see how hard this is for you, and I'm here for you. I can understand. I'm ready whenever you are. And then whereas the masculine energy provides emotional grounding. It's like anchoring you in your emotions and not allowing the emotions to take over. So some of us women need to practice and tap in more into the masculine when it comes to our emotions. And I know some of you are doing an amazing job with that as well. And the same thing for men. And while other women need to tap in more into their emotional part of themselves and their emotional intelligence and express themselves. So that's all I want to share with each and every one of you. Hopefully this was an eye-opening topic for today, talking about the feminine and the masculine, and not, like I said in the beginning, not just in men and women, but in both of us, because we both carry the masculine and the feminine. And when it's out of balance, we feel that and we see that and we express that, and it doesn't feel good. But when it's in balance, we feel good, we feel amazing, we feel great, we feel empowered, we feel motivated, inspired. Sometimes we take action, and sometimes we just sit and chill and be and absorb everything and feel great. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Debbie says thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for being on here with me as well. Thank you, Rebecca, Debbie, to everyone else who was the silent watcher or replay watcher as well. And until we chat again next time, next Tuesday, let's be realistic, 12 p.m.-ish a.m. Eastern time, or p.m. Yeah, p.m. 12 p.m. Eastern time. I will not be here at a.m. I'll be sleeping at 12 a.m. So thank you very much. I'm sure you will be as well, or hope you'll be as well. It's a crucial time for sleep, actually. So I'll be seeing you next week at 12 p.m. Eastern time, or tomorrow live for the podcast Heal the Unicorn, which Bethany and we live stream into the Facebook group Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. And as always, we'll have a great topic to help you where you are right now and where you want to go. So other than that, until next time, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye, everybody.